Hey, I just wanted to post a quick video update on the Batman utility belt that we're working on. I've actually done, since the last video, I've done probably about 5 or 6 of these, just playing with certain things. And so this is kind of what I think the final design potential is. So, one of the issues in the last video I posted, because the thread was running this way, and I was trying to match this seam allowance on this side. I was trying to leave that much space. Basically, the thread would run up, and it was running, this way, kind of. And what happened was that corner was really loose over here, and eventually, over time, it would start to peel up. So the solution to that, after playing with several versions of it, was something like this. So there's two options. They're pretty similar. Is basically stitching across, and on this sample, it's just the minimum stitches. So you can see there's a back tack stitch here that starts it, and then going across, and then back tacking here to secure it. So having that on both the top and the bottom for each section that was coming up. And this is all right. And this was the first idea, and then as I kept playing with it, I was like, it seems a little broken. It seems a little not cohesive. So the second idea was same idea, but running it completely across, right? So I don't know if you can see that or not, but running the stitch over here, I was playing with trying to get it closer to the edge. I don't recommend that because this leather is too thin, and I'd be afraid it would tear. You want a good amount of material on the opposite side of the stitch. But anyway, so it'd be basically this seam allowance, kind of try to match these ones. But yeah, the other idea is then just to run the stitch all the way across the belt and kind of capture that. I don't know if you can see, but it actually makes that I think it ties in pretty well. Like if you were looking at this from afar, the idea of this being a canister or a cylinder that holds something, and this could be like considered the lid or like a screw top or whatever, like a opening mechanism. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. The idea of running the straight stitch all the way across, even though it uses a lot more thread, to me this has the cleanest look versus doing something like this. But if you don't want stitching all on the black parts and stuff, then we could go with something like this too. The only other thing I wanted to mention was back tacking. So when I normally back tack, like so if I was making a pouch, right, and this was a pouch, and I would stitch the seam, I would back tack 3 stitches to make it sure that it didn't unravel. And so the thing is, this is not really a high pressure area right here, and so I've back tacked once. So I just wanted to point that out. So this is one back tack here. Right, I get to the end, back tack it, back tack, just to secure the thread. Like I said, in theory, you would do 3, but on one of the versions when I had done 3 back tacks, I didn't like it. It looked really, I don't know, really messy, I guess, because it was like a thicker line coming out this way, but then thinning out here in the middle, and it didn't look right. So to me, I was just like, I'm going to back tack it once. This is a polyester thread, so then when I pull this through the back side of the belt, basically I can secure it by melting the thread ends, and it will be secure. And like I said, this is not really, the only pressure you're gonna have is the belt loop, kind of. If this was the belt loop, the belt loops as you slide the belt in and out. And so I'm not really concerned a whole lot about this threading coming down. It is glued down, right? The whole thing is glued to the black leather, so it's not going to naturally want to pull up. The only part that was going to do that was this, if this was the belt loop. But to me, this horizontal stitch on bottom and top kind of solved that. But anyway, let me know what you think about this idea of if you want to do something like this, or if you want to just run the whole stitch length on the top and kind of create this canister look. Hopefully you're okay with that. But yeah, that's kind of the solution I've come up with to make the best, longest lasting belt possible using this. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I mentioned in one of my other messages is I've ordered some punches. When I first was doing these, like I said, I've done like 5 or 6 since the last video. One of the things, this leather is really soft. So when I was using my X-Acto knife, it would stretch, and I was cutting it. The leather would have a lot of give to it. So cutting a straight line from like here to here was really difficult because it wasn't attached to this black part, right? I'm cutting on a cutting board, and I'm trying to cut it out. And as I pulled the X-Acto knife, the leather, is very malleable. So, but I guess the thing is, I've done a fair amount of these. So, like for example, this is the most recent one, to where I think I've figured out how to keep these lines pretty equal on both sides and the spacing. But I did order punches; they're on their way, but it might be a while. So I did want to mention that as an option, the special, I guess, rectangular punches that like you can punch out rectangles with, and I was going to use that just on the edge to do these punches. But if you're in a hurry, like I said, I think I've gotten used to working with this leather enough to where I can kind of anticipate how much it's going to stretch and where it's going to stretch, and manage to cut off pretty straight lines. So otherwise, we can wait for the punch. It's up to you. But yeah, that should cover everything. If you have any questions, let me know. Let me know what you think about just doing either a single for each section or just running the whole stitch length. And of course, this middle section is pretty much how it's going to look. It's going to have this kind of design, this back tack on one spot. There might be a way to avoid back tacking. I don't know if I would trust that. I could just, the last thread I could actually just pull through and melt, but I don't trust that necessarily. So I would want to back tack at least one stitch on each one of these panels, each section. Anyway, let me know what you think about that and what you think about the look so far. This is a scrap black leather belt. Leather, edge, so it's really rough. All right, take care. Bye.